Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to do a video on a brand new product that I just purchased, which is the Mirka Deros sander. It's the 5.0 and I was debating for quite a while on what sander to upgrade to. I currently have and have used for years a DeWalt 5-inch orbital sander, the variable speed, which is a great sander. So for the price point of $79, it's an excellent sander. However, I sand like a crazy woman. I do this for a living, so I am sanding a lot. And there's things that you start to notice about sanders that you wonder, are there better ones out there for someone who's using this all of the time? So after extensive research, I went ahead and landed on this Mirka Deros sander. I had compared it to the Festool and the Surf Prep. Now I do have a Surf Prep finish sander. It's the 3x4 and I love it. But an orbital sander is going to do the job of removing the finish from all of the tops that I work on, anything flat. The finish sander will do that. It just doesn't have quite the power. So having two sanders for me works perfectly. So anyway, after much research, lots of video watching, yes, I watch a lot of videos too, I went ahead and decided on the Mirka. So I'm going to show you, we're actually going to walk through this together today for the first time. I have not used it. It is still in its box. I just picked it up yesterday. And so we're going to go through this together and sand a piece. And then I'm going to talk about why did I choose this one, what the differences were that I found upon my research, and we will talk about the price point because it is a big investment. So let's go ahead. I have a piece picked out already. It is just my piece. It is not a client piece, which I never like to try anything new on a client piece. I always like to test it first. So this is my piece that I have here in the shop that I'm going to be putting up for sale. So it's a perfect piece. If something goes wrong, it's mine. I don't have to worry about it. So it is a tall dresser. We're going to go ahead and get this all hooked up. I will show you my setup that I hook it up to. I only bought the sander. I did not buy their vac system. And the reason why is, number one, it was an expensive unit altogether. And number two, I already have a system that the rep thought would work just fine. So we're going to try this out first and see how I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and hook all that up and then I will get started with the sanding of the piece. So I'm going to actually show you, I was going to do this off camera and then I thought, you know what, this is really simple and a lot of people will ask questions about this. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to tip the camera down and show you how simple it is when you have a vac system already, what you need. Basically all I bought was the hose and the sander, and I will show you how easily that goes into my vac system, and I'll show you the vac system itself. Okay, so this is my vac system here. The stand my husband built for me, so you don't need all that, but basically it is a Homer bucket from Home Depot. They make this, I couldn't find it in the store, but we ordered it online, and it's just the top where your shop vac will go into this portion here, and then this portion here is where you're going to plug your hose into your sander. And then I have a rigid shop vac, so you can see where it goes from the bottom of the vac up to the top to dump all of the sanding dust in there. And then this, I got a super extra long hose so that I had plenty of room to move around. But basically it's got this adapter on one end and you literally plug it into here and it should fit really snug and tight. That's going to ensure your dust collection working perfectly and going in there instead of everywhere out here. So then all you do is take the bottom here and plug it in to the bottom of your sander. Again, making sure that you've got it on really good and tight because that's going to ensure the best dust collection. So how simple is that? If you do not have a vac system set up like this, you can do it relatively inexpensively. As I mentioned, Mirka does sell. It's on wheels. Basically it's a shop vac. It works exactly the same way. However, the Mirka goes right to the vac itself. There's no dust collection bucket here, so you would have to empty the bag once it was full. And then it does have an auto on, auto off, which this doesn't have. I have to hit my switch down here to turn it on. So it's a little fancy, but to me, I figured since I already had this set up, I'm gonna use this first before I invest any further in a different vac system for dust collection. The other thing I wanna share with you guys is the length of the cord. And I know that might seem like kind of a trivial thing to be concerned about or happy about, but I gotta tell you, having that reach is really good. So you can see how much hose that you have and then how much cord you have. So that really works to your advantage when you've got a piece that you're having to move around quite a bit. Okay guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm actually gonna go ahead and start with 80 grit. Because this is solid wood, not a veneer. I don't have to worry about it burning through at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with 80 grit. So here we go. Okay, so what I want to talk about before we actually start sanding is the sandpaper. I've mentioned this before, but not all sandpaper is created equal. There are very cheap versions of sandpaper out there. I have run through the gamut over the years and discovered what it is that I think works best for me. There are more expensive ones on the market. There are really cheap ones on the market. What I have decided to go with, and I've been using this for quite a while, is the actual Mirka Deros sandpaper. And let me set this down. What it looks like is this. So you're gonna get really good flow so that your dust isn't gonna be in the air, as well as you see all these holes are what helps for keeping that dust down low. This is a really good, they last really long. I do find that they are a little more pricey. I believe a 10 pack goes for $19.99, but I was using a different sandpaper, which was also a really good one, and it was $15.99. So I figured for the extra $4, I've been testing this out for the last month and I really, really like it. So super easy. You don't even really have to line it up. You just put it on there and there you go. So they do make other sandpaper that lines up here with these holes that you can use, and it's a little less expensive, but just my opinion, the Deros sandpaper is really good. So I just wanted to talk about that before we actually get started because I want to share with you guys everything that I am using. And for this particular project, I'm going to start with my 100 grit, 120, 150. If I feel like it needs to go down to 180, I will, but typically I stop at 150 because it's pretty darn smooth for stain. So let's go ahead and get the piece. Okay, so that took all of, in real time, 5 minutes and 55 seconds to get off that finish. I actually did not expect that 80 grit would go down as far as it did. Usually that's not my intention. Normally I take the 80 grit just to get the top kind of layered finish off, but it broke through so incredibly easy. I will say the one thing that's just going to be for me as a personal preference to get used to is going to be using this. This is how you power it off and on with this paddle, and not an on and off button per se. So as you can see, maybe through that, I don't know if you could because I fast forwarded it, but you might have been able to see where I was having a little bit of issue handling it. I just have to get used to using it that way. But otherwise, holy cow, I'm impressed. And the first thing that I noticed, the weight of this is so incredibly light and easy to maneuver. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the rest of my grits. As you can see, I have a lot of work still to do, but I gotta step it up. I'm gonna go 100, 120, and finish off with 150. So I'll come back and show you the end result when it comes to that. And I'm also gonna time that just to see how long it actually takes me. I know how long my DeWalt takes me, so I wanna see how long this one takes me. Okay, I wanna tell you guys, that took 10 minutes, actually 9 minutes and 58 seconds. This is completely smooth. It's been sanded down to 150 grit, which I'm plenty happy with. And I have to tell you, that's as fast as I've ever sanded a similar piece down. Normally would be 16 minutes Yes, I know. When you do this for a long period of time, you start doing things like timing yourself sanding to see how fast you can do it. It sounds silly, but anyway, it kind of came in handy because I have to tell you, first time I'm blown away using this. It's so light, it's so easy. When I was doing this edge here and having to hold it right here, let me show you, like this, oh my gosh, when I have held other sanders, they're so incredibly heavy, and so doing this after a while can really wear on you. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys the top. That is all ready for stain. It came out beautiful. So I am incredibly impressed and happy with my purchase at this point. Okay, so I want to show you guys the amount of dust that it produced on the piece, and as you can see, it is not, it's very minimal. It's not a lot. Here's my station here, and not a lot of dust. So I'm pretty impressed with my vac system working with this Mirka, that I don't have to, if I don't want to, buy their whole system, because that I can deal with. That is not very much dust, so it's pretty cool. All right, you guys, that is it. We are at the end of the video. The piece has been completely sanded down, and now I want to talk about all of the good things with my sander. So one of the things I want to start off by saying, and I say this often when I'm trying new and different products, is not one product works for everybody. And you may have a completely different opinion and preference than I do. I chose the Mirka based on all of my research that I did, and it's the one that I felt like was going to work for me. I feel like I made a really good choice. Obviously, when you're making a small investment in good tools, you want to make sure that you do your research. So I want to say that for years I used a DeWalt sander, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with using that sander or any other sander that might be a little more cost efficient. Not everybody needs to go out and get, a big investment type tool, but I do this a lot and it makes sense for me. So there's a few things I want to go over. Comfort. It's very easy and very comfortable to use. Now it is a little different having to get used to using that pad pushing down for power than when you would turn on one with a switch and then you're just holding it. But that's okay. I'm used to that. My surf prep is designed the same way. So as far as the weight goes, it's a little bit lighter than some of the other sanders that I was comparing it to during my research. That was important for me. If I'm sanding 5 pieces a day, holding something heavy, it just kind of gets to you. I want to be able to do this for a long time. I don't want to wear out my body parts. The other thing was vibration. The vibration is very, very little. And that was also something that I considered when purchasing in comparison to other products. So that is true what they say. The vibration is very little, way different than my DeWalt. So I'm really happy with that. Now, as far as the price point goes, you guys can look yourselves, but I'm going to tell you it's between $600 and $650. Now, that was, I actually didn't have a dealer that sells these in my area, so I had to drive a little bit of a way, and I actually had to call a Mirka rep to figure out who carries them. So I did a little research with the Mirka online. I thought I could just go online and buy it. Not so much. So, but anyway, the price point for the sander itself was $643 is what I paid for it. It is a lot, but I feel like in the long run, it's going to be worth it for me. And the other thing that I looked at during my comparisons were the power and the noise, because that's important, right? You don't want to tick off people in your neighborhood or wherever it is you're doing your sanding. You want to keep the noise to a minimum. The DeWalt is kind of loud. I will say the Mirka was a little bit quieter, and I can appreciate that very much. So, and the power it has in comparison was really different as well. So one of the things, I watched a video on a Mirka versus a Festool. And one of the things that a lot of people have issues with are swirly marks from orbitals. It's almost inevitable that they're going to be putting it in there because your pad is swirling, right? A lot of things can contribute to that. The pressure that you're putting on it, the grits of sandpaper that you're going through and using. So there are some things that we as the user can be in control of. But there's also some things with less vibration, more power, that sander will help control as well. So that was one of the things that really kind of pushed me over the edge to buy the Mirka. Was I watched a comparison, and the swirl mark was like non-existent with the Mirka, so that was really important to me as well. So like I said, I want you to understand I'm not bashing any other product out there. I'm just giving you my honest opinion of what I think of my own purchase, so you guys can make your own decision if this is something you're thinking about doing. And I definitely recommend researching many different videos. I just wanted to share with you because I was excited to try my new product and I wanted to see how it works. And of course, I want to make sure my investment, I felt like it was worth the purchase. I was very nervous. It's, you know, I do this for a business, but I think long and hard before I make big investments in certain things, because I want to make sure, do I really need that? Can I make it work with what I have? And some things, yes, you can. And some things I truly believe you need to step it up sometimes. So anyway, thank you for watching today, you guys. Thank you for being subscribers. I truly appreciate you. If you have any positive comments or any questions, make sure you put them down below. I love interacting with you guys. I always will answer all of your questions. And I want to remind you that I do teach virtually. So if there's ever something you are interested in learning more in depth about that my videos don't provide for you, definitely reach out. I'll make sure I put the link down below as well, because I have had great success with my virtual lessons and people seem to really get a lot out of them, and they are tailored to what you want to learn. So it can be anything from painting to sanding to learning how to take this into a business, whatever it is, I teach it. So again, thanks you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.